Here we are again, y'all, with the Achy Breaky Sex Part 3. And this one is for the men. Yes, this one is for the men. Ladies, say yay! Listen, ladies, in the last section, we got rid of our blanket, our flannel blanket, you know, the thing that hides all of our good stuff. And we got rid of our flannel pajamas, you know, those things sort of are turn off. We decided to fix our hair and put on some if you don't have none. We decided to get the cologne out. Yeah, this is really expensive cologne, but you don't have to have an expensive one. You could go to the dollar store and get the knockoffs, you know. But anyway, this you have the cologne, and then we decided that we want to make sure we got our Bengay or whatever we need to rub out all those joints after we've taken our warm bath and sort of relaxed and got ourselves together. We put some lotion and stuff on our hands and our feet so we don't be scratching up the person. And we've taken our medications. It's important that we do that when we want to have good sexual relationships. We got our mind together. We got our scriptures here. And our scripture for this session that we're doing on achy breaky sex is 1 Corinthians 7 and 5. And it says, do not deprive each other of sexual relationships unless you both agree for a time of fasting and prayer. And we've already told you, you can't fast all year long, y'all. You got to make some time to have sexual relations with your partner, okay? Because you don't want them going off having relationships with somebody else, whether physically or emotionally. You want to make sure you're there to make sure you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. So today I'm going to talk about men. I'm going to talk about some of the difficulties they have when it comes down to achy breaky sex. First of all, we're going to talk about medication. Many times men are on medications which are antidepressants. The SSR1 type antidepressants are known to cause them to be able to have issues being able to respond sexually to the aggression that you give toward them or the love that you're showing. Maybe aggression isn't the right word, but some of y'all may be wanting it so bad and haven't had it in so long. It could be aggression. You might be jumping your man. But anyway, sometimes it has to do with the medication. Other times, number two, it can have to deal with the lack of sleep. It's important not only for you to get rested, but it's important for them to be rested to be able to perform. You know, when they were younger, they didn't need as much sleep because all they were thinking about was sex. When they get a little bit older, they need a little bit more sleep in order to prepare their body to be able to perform. Number three, we need to be able to check their hormone levels. Hormone levels are very, very important, and physiological stimulation comes from really in the mind and the hormones there. We want to make sure that their testosterone level is right, but we want to make sure that the doctor is not only testing for testosterone, we want to make sure that he's doing all the other tests for the libido, which is really so important. So we want to make sure that when he does the test, that he's doing the test for the SHB G, which is the sex hormone binding globulin. And we also want to make sure that we are doing the test for the free testosterone test and the prolactin prostrone test. Now I had to look at my notes for that because, you know, I'm not a medical doctor, but you know, if you go to one, he can tell you and you can ask him about all those different types of tests. Next, we want to talk about the identity issues. You know, a lot of times men are not able to have sex because of they don't identify well about themselves. Men can feel uncertain about their role in the world. Their desire for sex can dwindle because of that. They're not sure where they belong. They're not sure of their identity when they lose their jobs, or if they're not able to provide financially for their home, or if there's a death of someone in their family, like a mother or a father that they were close to, or a really close friend that they had, and they were just having a problem with that. Sometimes they lose their sense of identity, and that will cause them not to be able to, believe it or not, perform sexually, and they have that, what we call in this series, achy breaky sex. And then sometimes it's a turn off to the aspect of sex itself. Some men will turn away from sex rather than to sex because they find it's not fulfilling. Sometimes, and women, we have to really be careful about this. We can criticize, and criticism should not be done either way, unhealthy criticism shouldn't be done by the man or the woman, but we have to really be extremely careful when we talk about criticizing them. They're not as good as somebody else that you've had, or they're not satisfying you. You got to take that in a different direction when it comes down to achy breaky sex, because they have a lack of fulfillment. They feel like I'm not able to do it, or I'm not being satisfied. Maybe the companion is not doing things that brings joy to them. We have to watch out for that. Number 6 is that disagreement with one's mate. You know what? Nobody likes to say lay down and have fun when you've been arguing and fussing all day long. So men, they argue and fuss about everything. Maybe it's because of their job. Maybe it's because of their financial situation. Maybe because their education. They don't like where they stand educationally. But we don't want to. Good sex will never happen if you're always complaining and if the house is full of frustration and stress all the time. It's got to be a place for peace and calm. I know there are times to deal with issues, but there should be specific times that we deal with those issues. So it's important that you learn that you have to be fulfilling in that area, and not to have a house full of stress. Another reason why there's achy breaky sex is that some men have learned, because of the society that we live in, they have learned that masturbation is easy. They can go on the internet, they can get magazines, they can look at videos, and then they do more masturbating, and so they masturbate, and that lowers their desire to be able to have fulfilling sex with their partner. Then some men have a fear of intimacy, and so we really want to make sure that we deal with the issues of their fear. They're afraid that if they get too close to a person, that they are going to be retaliated on with that. So it's important that we try to address all of these issues. I can't address them all now, but I will be able to address them a little bit more on our page on kdj.com. You want to make sure you go there. The last thing I want to say about men and achy breaky sex is that sometimes there's erectile dysfunction, and that can be handled in many ways. Some men learn to adjust to it. Some men go and have implants put in. Some men decide that they want to work with toys or whatever, but it's important that you find out specifically what's causing the problem. And so we want you to have healthy relationships. I want you to go to kaedj.com. Ladies, you can get my book, Whose Man Is This? That will be an awesome book for you to read in terms of relationships. You will enjoy it. Men, I want you to, men and women together, we have the DVD, which is KDJ, Whose Man Is This, the musical. It's an awesome tool that you and your wife can sit down and look together. It talks about healthy relationships and healthy issues and why we do the things that we do. This is for men and for women. There's a lot of good stuff on our website, but I want to close with saying don't give up. Number 1, pray that God will give you his knowledge and wisdom about your situation. Do what you can do. Read helpful medical. Don't call me right now. I just told y'all I'm not finished. I got 1 more minute. Now the phone is ringing. Y'all wait, then you can call me after that. Okay, so do what you can do to make your situation better. Visit the appropriate medical and psychological services that are available to you to take care of all of those other issues. And then relax. Make sure you relax. And then do what the 12-step program says. It says learn to accept the things that you cannot change. Change the things that you can change. And ask God for the wisdom to know the difference. This is Kathy Jones. I am so happy to be able to talk to you about achy breaky sex. And I want me some. I gotta go get some, y'all. I'm finna go get me some, y'all. Yeah. Uh-oh. I better figure out if we got any of these problems. See you all next time. kaedj.com. Bye.